Hello, everybody. I told you we'd be right back. And of course, we are talking about more multiverse. We're getting into now Doctor Strange and the multiverse of madness. I will say I don't get the fucking title actually. Beyond the fact they go through the multiverse and points. Spoiler! But I mean, you know that from watching the trailers of this movie.
I think they're trying to imply it's like, with all this multiverse stuff, it's kind of batshit insane. It's like, not that crazy.
Yeah.
Just, I guess, because it started with an M, like multiverse.
So, yeah, we of course saw Doctor Strange and Multiverse of Madness. Those who are wondering, like, in terms of the Everything Everywhere All at Once review that I just posted up, it's like, yes, we're in the same clothes because literally we just stopped filming that like a couple minutes ago.
Yeah.
And we saw Doctor Strange literally earlier
today.
Yeah, earlier today. May 8th, if you're wondering. So that way
Day.
make it nice and timely. Yeah, because this is a great Mother's Day movie. So, I really kind of let off more with Everything Everywhere All at Once. I don't think Megan can actually give us her opinions whenever it comes to Doctor Strange 2. I'm going to just call it that because that's a long title. So, what did you think of Doctor Strange Numero Dos?
I will admit it was not quite what I was expecting, but I liked it. I'm still kind of chewing on it, you know.
So, in terms of what you were expecting, what were you expecting exactly?
I can't really mention that without getting into spoilers. It just the trailer made me think it was gonna, like, the story was kind of going one direction, and it kind of went like a slightly different direction that I was thinking.
And I will actually agree with you on that because I did think one thing with the movie, but it kind of became something else. If I can, I always like to kind of start off with negatives to get some of those out of the way. Especially if there's a lot more positives, which yes, there's quite a bit of positive with this movie. The movie, like in terms of Multiverse of Madness, like the reason why I say it's like it's not as Multiverse of Madness. Realistically, maybe 3 or 4 universes are really kind of mentioned. And even then, they only go to like 3.
Yeah, Doctor Strange has one character.
America Chavez.
Yeah, I'm not too familiar with comics.
Oh, America Chavez. Oh, God. So
I don't like that that tone.
America Chavez. Originally, people were like, okay, whatever. They kind of I have her first comic digitally. I was like, okay, this isn't that great because the writing's kind of piss poor in it, and it got worse actually. I think either she was or so. American Chavez, just give you a little bit of backstory. It is kind of brought up in the movie, so it's not a huge.
Yeah, even at the very beginning, really. So.
Yeah, though I don't believe her powers were universe hopping. I can't remember. I do know her powers is she can punch really hard, or she's like got super strength and super invincibility. Yeah, but of course she has 2 moms, so she is a product of test tube baby, I guess, or I don't know. I never really explained that in this. I will give him this much. I really didn't focus a ton on it. But in the comics, she is all about the fact that she is gay. And her mothers were gay. And she is woman power. She is a feminist's wet dream, is what she is. I really want to say she's the one who said holy menstruation one time, or power menstruation. Like, it was something like that, and I was reading going, this is stupid. This is real stupid. The writer of the comics that America's most like prevalent in her original run was super about their message and not about actually writing a good story. So characters didn't talk very normally. They talked very, very like you would think an activist would, which made reading him a fucking chore. So because of that, America Chavez has slowly become more and more radioactive. Is the best way to put it. You just don't talk about it. You just don't deal with them as long as you don't fucking have to. Is what they think. So they kind of just don't bring her up a whole lot. Like she comes up every now and then, but like she wasn't very prolific in I will say Civil War II or many of the like Secret Empire. She did not even play a part in. It's not outside the in the main comics. What I'm talking about, people. If she was in the side stories, it's because somebody wanted to use her. But they noticed that she wasn't in the main stories. No one gave a fuck about her. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so that's America Chavez in the comics.
But yeah, she and Doctor Strange, they visit a couple different universes. But at one point they do, like, travel, just kind of fly through a couple of other universes, including one where they're made of paint.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, that's a thing. It's no stranger than hot dog fingers, but...
Yeah, or they're just rocks. And I would say it's like that's one of the things, like, I think this movie went through a few different rewrites. I think it's the reason why it also kind of got shuffled around a little bit on its original schedule. Like, I really want to say this was supposed to come out before Black Widow, even. Or no, it's supposed to come out after Black Widow, but before Shang Blowhard and the boring Eternals. Sorry, guys, this movie sucked ass. Because I think that actually makes more sense, like the fact that they bring up Spider-Man. Because technically the spell, at the end of it, made everybody forget Spider-Man.
No, it made him forget Peter Parker.
Forgot everything about him, but still, it's like he's... And also, just to spoil Morbius, but it's a month old at this point, guys. I guess it also technically transports Spider-Man into the Sony universe. I think. I that's my headcanon right now, because it's the only thing that kind of makes sense. And also the reason why the Vulture's technically in that universe now.
Yeah, was it you that came up with that fan theory?
Yeah, I said that like after we got out of the theater, Morbius.
Yeah, then, like, the reason why everyone doesn't know who Peter Parker is because the spell transported him to a world where nobody knows who Peter Parker is, which just happens to be Morbius and Venom's universe.
Mm-hmm.
Which is why Vulture is also there.
For reasons.
Yeah.
But yeah, besides all of that, yeah, I think that, like I said, I think this movie might went through a few different rewrites. Just because I think they probably...
Yeah, and it seemed like in the trailer they mentioned something about the spell that he cast in No Way Home, but there's no mention of that really whatsoever. I mean, there's a brief mention of Spider-Man, and America's like, who's that? It's like, oh, it's a man with the powers of a spider. Ew, it sounds disgusting.
Yeah, and I think they could have went a little bit more, just having like more universes and stuff like that. Like, it's part of what made Into the Spider-Verse so beloved in my eyes. Like, if it was just Spider-Gwen and maybe the old grizzled Peter Parker and Miles, it would have been a little, like, even though they all had great chemistry together, everything, needed more. Especially Nick Cage's fucking noir Spider-Man who fucking talks all the time like he's a fucking hard-boiled dick. Like,
Poor detective, yeah.
Like, oh my god.
Just Nicolas Cage just having fun.
Yeah, and it's Spider-Ham.
Or Spider-Pig.
Yeah, I thought it was Spider-Ham.
That was Spider-Pig. Or I may just be thinking of Simpsons movie.
I think you might be thinking Simpsons.
Spider-Pig. Spider-Pig.
And then, of course, there was the pretty much anime Spider-Man and lady. It's like, okay, that's really funny, guys. But yeah, see, I think that's one thing. Maybe guys just could have done was just a little bit more. Realistically, there is two main universes they kind of go through. One of them, just to go ahead and give a little bit away, deals with the Illuminati. those who have read the comics know exactly what the fuck I'm talking about. Those who have not read the comics think that somebody who is a fucking conspiracy theorist wrote this damn thing. I will not tell you who is on the Illuminati.
One you kind of hear in the trailer.
Yeah, they kind of...
Like, I think we should tell them the truth.
Yeah, they gave that one
it's
away.
Like,
though the other one is, you can tell, it's Baron Mordo.
Yeah.
I cannot pronounce this damn dude's name. I'm sorry, you're a great actor and I can't say your fucking name.
Yeah. And I will say that when, we all know who it is, Professor X. When he comes on screen, everyone, fair warning, be on, have your ears open for, the X-Men 90s. Just briefly, oh my god. I didn't even watch that show really, and I'm like, oh my god, that's I was gonna geek it out a little bit. Just a little bit.
There's actually, I will say this much, that's the one thing I like about the fact that Sam Raimi directed this movie.
Bruce Campbell.
You get Bruce Campbell in this movie, so his little cameo is fucking stupid as hell, but funny.
Especially, I
just said as much as he's beating himself up.
Mm-hmm.
But, yeah, Sam Raimi, he has a visual way, or a way of looking at things and doing stuff with the camera that I think really works. Here, I think it works fantastically. There's a lot of moments where, obviously, they could have... How's the best way to put it? You can tell it's supposed to be green screen, but he purposely decides, you know what, since it's green screen, I can make it whatever the fuck I feel like I want to make it.
Yeah.
The best way to put it is, Strange is going into this one Sanctum Sanctorum, his house in all essence, and it looks like a regular building on the inside, but, or on the outside, but you go inside, it's actually, in the middle of a fucking island or something. It looks really cool and really kind of depressing in its own way and how it's supposed to be. And there's just a lot of unique little looks on things. And
it almost kind of turns into a horror movie at one point. You see this kind of I won't get into too much detail, trying to spoil, but you see somebody coming out of this gong, kind of
out the
ring.
Reflection and
the ring-ish. It's kind of jerky and kind of horror movie-ish, and
there's a lot of little horror kind of elements throughout it. There is a zombie that comes about at one point, and it's pretty fucking cool looking. And I'll also say this much,
you can't see in the trailers.
Yeah, there's the makeup that they have on the character actually looks really good because it does not look like CGI. It looks like actual makeup, which I'm like, oh, thank you, Sam. Thank you for actually doing that.
I'm not a big zombie fan. But this looked really freaking neat, especially what they ended up doing with it. And then it's oh, that's fucking cool. You see it in the trailers, it looks even cooler.
Yeah.
In the movie.
And I will say it's another thing, and I think it's one of those that I think the movie went through a few rewrites because I think they ended up rewriting in some ways because of who the villain ends up being.
Yeah.
Which I'm of a mixed bag. I get it, but at the same time, I think I know what they're wanting to do with it. Because they went, oh, shit. This is what they did. And honestly, I think this is trying to set up for more down the road. Although, I'm also going to throw out one thing, again, to throw out some negative here. The fuck was with the first, stinger ending thing? Charlize Theron pops up in this.
Yeah, it just
if you don't
out of nowhere, and they almost kind of act like they know each other. She and Doctor Strange. It's hey, well, you mess things up, and we're gonna fix this.
Yeah. Okay, well, let's go. It's pretty much
and then
yeah, it's one as you go, what the fuck just happened? I knew the character because I was okay, is that this character? And then saw the credits. Okay, yeah, that is who Charles Theron's playing.
Even says in the end credits, Charlize Theron, Clea.
Yeah. And I'll say for those who are, comic book fans, like, there are a lot of really nifty little nods here and there. There is nods, strange enough, into Spider-Verse. There's nods actually to, like, they bounce through an anime world nonsense. They become anime for a bit. And, of course, there's Clea, those who watch anything with the stuff, or read the comics. There we go. They know about Clea and the backstory between her and Doctor Strange. There's also nods more to the Living Tribunal, actually. You actually do see the character for a brief moment. Like, it's all for that.
Or at least the, like, statue.
Oh, no, it's actually him. Living Tribunal is...
I thought it was that one statue when they were going, like, underwater.
No. It was when they were first bouncing through the multiverses. That thing with the eyes.
I think there was even supposed to be like a Loki reference in there somewhere, but it's like so just pass it by so quickly. It's like kind of a blink and you'll miss it. Like you pretty much gotta wait until you can either watch it on Disney Plus or buy it and like just like pause it, like kind of slowly go through the thing or
and. Again, another great thing with Sam Raimi being at the helm, Sam Raimi is a fucking comic book nerd. So there are a lot of little interesting little things he kind of stuck in here. And it's more than just saying, oh, we're going to the Ultron project or something. I'm picking too much on Josh Rapey. Sorry, I don't think he's a rapist. I think he's actually just an asshole from what I've heard. The racist who did...
Oh, Joss Whedon?
Yeah. Let's say, he fucking hates people. You don't like black people, that's for sure. I don't know.
No, just from what I heard, he's like a raving lunatic because I think he's like such a like perfectionist and he has such a vision of what he wants to do with a particular movie or show, and he gets pissed off if it deviates in any way. And
Joss Whedon's kind of an asshole.
Yes, because I recently watched something with James Marsters, who played Spike on Buffy. Like, originally they were going to kill him off, and there was such a fan reaction to him that they ended up bringing him back, and Joss Whedon was apparently not really happy about that. He made it well known.
Joss Whedon doesn't like anything, that he didn't come up with.
Like I say, he's control freak perfectionist.
But yeah, it's like here, there's a lot more like, if you are a comic book fan, you'll get like, oh, okay, so that's why this thing is here. That's what this thing looks like. Like, there is a statue of Doctor Strange in our multiverse where he has the popped up collar. It looks like from the 70s. I was like, okay, that's kind of neat. I like that little nod. There is just so many little bitty nods here and there without it just having to be like, oh yeah, remember Thor's hammer or something like that? Kind of weird that, I guess Joss Whedon kind of was a little ham-fisted with that at times. I think he got better in the second Avengers movie, but he really needed to have another movie where he kind of cut down some of the quippiness at times. And actually just make good characters. But yeah, there is a lot of very interesting little nods here and there. There is a lot of interesting things I do think they do with the movie. I just think the movie actually almost could have been longer. Like, I don't mind. It's weird because we were just kind of complaining about everything everywhere all at once being...
Should have been like a little bit tighter and shorter.
Yeah. This, I don't think it's so much... Like, some people have described this as a very messy movie. I don't think it's messy per se.
I mean, I will say, I think it's actually predictable. Like, once you kind of see where it's going and couple the turns that's going to be taking, it's like, okay, that's... I mean, I'm here along for the ride. Cool. Mm-hmm. I would say, like, the villain, not to get into spoilers, but it's like, I do not condone what they did or anything, but I do
sympathize.
I was like, I understand their methods. Like, yeah,
Oh, and those who are wondering, do I need to have seen any of the more recent things, like especially like What If or Loki? I would say if anything, because of course, Scarlet Witch is in this. WandaVision is really the main thing. What If also is not a very good show.
What If, like, it will maybe help, but it's not necessary. WandaVision, however, they make references to, oh, well, I know what you did in this one town, and I know you made
Westview.
amends. Yeah, yeah, something like that. It's like, I know you made amends, and like...
Yeah, there's a lot of direct...
Yeah, and she makes reference to her children, and...
Yeah, it's like there's actually a lot of direct, correlation from this and WandaVision. And, it's Loki, not so much, even though Loki, I think, those multiverses in a way. I don't know.
Yeah, it's like I'm looking forward to the payoff of the season finale of Loki.
Yeah.
Like, not just within the show itself, but also the rest of the MCU.
Yeah.
Like, I really thought that was going to come into play here, but it really didn't. Like,
again, that's the reason why I think this might have got rewritten a little bit. Because I'm wondering, because originally this was supposed to come out before Spider-Man. Like, that was the original timeline, was this was supposed to come out before Spider-Man. So, again, that's the reason why I think, like, the Spider-Man kind of reference. Because also, that's another thing. Wong wouldn't have remembered him, because Wong wasn't part of the spell. But Wong remembered Spider-Man.
well, again, it's not...
He removed... Everybody did not know who Spider-Man or Peter Parker was. That was his thing.
Have everyone forget about Peter Parker, so that no one knows who Peter Parker is. Like, no...
But that would also include Spider-Man.
Well, I was saying, like, kind of keep his identity secret.
Well, except for, Daredevil. Damn, I still love that fucking cameo.
It's like
I'm a really good
how'd you
lawyer.
do that? It's like, I'm a good lawyer.
I'm a really good lawyer. Alright, damn it, that one was really good.
Yeah, it's not necessary to have seen the Daredevil show for that one, but if you've like seen season or two, it really helps to like geek out.
Yeah, and also Charlie Cox. Whenever you went to go see that, and you didn't see people cheering and everything like that, I would just let you know in our theater when everyone went to go see Spider-Man and No Way Home, everybody was freaking geeking out and happy about the fact that we got to see you again.
It's like,
yes, we would love to see you again on the big screen, and we'd love to see you again on theater. Or see you in a show. If you want to do another Daredevil season, I wouldn't say no.
of course, still gotta finish up Luke Cage.
Let's need to watch Moon Knight.
Yeah. Now that it's finished up, we can binge watch it.
Yeah. But yeah, so back to Doctor Strange.
Yeah.
So if I can also give a small bit of our negative, and again, it's where I think the movie got chopped a little, and I think it did need a little bit of expansion, is some of the action sequences a little too choppy at points. Not like full-blown, like Resident Evil, the final chapter, where I'm like, I can't tell what's going on, I feel like I'm about to have a fucking migraine. I will show you the opening of that movie, and you'll go, oh my god, this is how they left this? Like, it is so... Like, it looks like I'm fucking watching somebody literally chopping the film while I'm watching. I'm like, oh, my head's hurting watching this. But yeah, but other than that, like, the acting's actually fantastic. And I will just say, for some of the Illuminati, please do these. Yes, I'm cool with some of that. Mm-hmm. It's like, is all I gotta say.
Yeah, I remember the end, it was like, oh my god, it's like, oh my god. It was like,
whatever that one, I was like, is actually what I almost wanted to do.
Yeah, the one.
The big one that they did not spoil.
Yes, I know exactly who you're talking about. Although they kind of talked about like doing a show or another movie about that and casting this one actor, but
they never said they did, and that's the reason why I was like,
yeah, it's like,
yeah, I was like,
hi.
Yeah, and I will say,
and
please.
God damn, I was about to spoil something. Oh shit! Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's. Is there any negatives you have really for the movie?
Like it was a little bit on the predictable side. Like where some of the story is, like what direction it's taking, and what like lessons are going to be learned. But it doesn't really impact it too much. Like I wasn't really like bored or anything. I was like, okay, I'm just along for the ride, see like how y'all get there. Because sometimes it's not the destination, it's the journey.
How do we get from point A to point B?
Yeah, and just like you were saying, the acting is great. The comedy, I mean, Doctor Strange and Wong are just they're how do I talk about this?
Their chemistry.
They're they're the same as they ever were. Like in the Doctor Strange movie and Avengers Infinity War.
Mm-hmm.
And everything. It's like the other, comedic chemistry, and they're like playing off each other, and it's like, most people bow. It's like, yeah, I'm wearing the tradition.
I'm wearing that. Yeah. And all that, but I do like that it does have some, talking about from the original, Doctor Strange movie, because, I was like, oh yeah, we really haven't touched much upon, his love life from way back when, since, and the other times he's been in these movies.
Yeah, as y'all can see from the trailer, they do bring back Rachel McAdams' character, Christine.
Yeah. Which...
Not in a way that I would have expected, though.
Yeah, but hey.
Yeah, it's like, I like being surprised. Because I hate... Like, we've talked about this in other videos, but I hate when movie trailers give away the whole goddamn movie, or give away some big twist and big surprise in the trailer. Like, just... It's like, oh, thanks movie, or thanks trailer.
I won't say much about, what it is after... Now I've kind of thought about it. I'll tell you after we get out of this. But I was just saying, it's like, yeah, the trailer, you're not going to get a ton, except for just, some little references here and there. And just a few of the little minor spoilers dealing with the Illuminati. Yeah. Or actually, since they're spoilers, just, who is on, we said, Charles Xavier.
I will say, whoever pieced together the trailer did a good job of, showing just enough of the movie... Just oh, this looks cool, this looks good. But also kind of keeping the story itself and kind of the twists and turns, keeping that a mystery. It's like, thank you. Yes. Finally.
Mm-hmm. I would say it's can we go ahead and keep giving Sam Raimi comic book movies if he wants to do them? I don't mind that. Let's give him Ghost Rider. I'm cool with the Ghost Rider Sam Raimi movie. That'd probably be pretty fucking awesome. Especially if we get Nick Cage again.
I was saying, especially if we can bring back Nick Cage. He was just...
Especially that second one. I know people hate the movie because it looks like it's being shot by a fucking meth addict. But holy hell, is the movie so much fucking fun.
Yeah, I prefer the first one. The second one's too balls to walls. It didn't really feel like a comic book movie to me.
You've never read a Ghost Rider movie or book then.
Ghost Rider. Read a Ghost Rider movie, huh?
You might have read a Ghost Rider movie, I don't know.
Is that when you have the movie on mute? Just read the captions?
Yep. Snerding.
I don't know why that's the thing that broke me.
I would have figured it would have been this thing that's on the TV right now. It's a horse.
That's it's it looks like it's rolling around the dirt.
It is a horse rolling in the dirt.
That's what I'm saying. It's just laying there, just it looks like it's in the middle of rolling around the dirt. It's that's partially that was not helping.
I don't know. I actually kind of really dug this. Also, I'll say, all right. So I'm not going to say with whom, but there is a fight that's actually all musical based. Mm-hmm. That Doctor Strange said, damn, that's actually pretty fucking cool.
I was gonna say, it was really cool looking and really, pretty with some of the effects. And I thought that was really, innovative.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's cool. That's neat.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so it's thank you, Danny Elfman. Thank you for coming back to, the rest of the world outside of Tim Burton movies. I know you and Tim are really good friends, but come back over here, sir. Come do other movies. So yeah, I don't know. I really dug the hell out of this movie. Mm-hmm. I don't know if this would ever make the top 10 echelon of MCU movies. Just because, one, we're getting so fucking many of them at this point.
Yeah, I think a lot of people are experiencing kind of a superhero burnout because there's so many shows and movies. I don't blame you, but
I honestly, I do think that's one thing Disney is doing. They're going a little too hard with the superhero shows. We are still behind. We haven't watched fucking Moon Knight. Of course, it just finished. Boba Fett. We still need to watch Peacemaker. It's one of those things that we just need time and fucking energy.
And again, still need to finish up the MCU movies that used to be on Netflix.
I mean the MCU shows.
What did I say?
Movies.
Yeah. You know what the hell I meant.
They don't seem to have much of an effect on anything.
Yeah, it's just trying to finish up season 1 of Luke Cage. I'm sorry, that is so boring, especially once they killed off
Cottonmouth.
Yeah.
It is bad. I fell asleep during an episode, and I kind of watched it back. I was like, I did not miss anything. I did not fall. I did not miss a single damn thing. To be fair, I think it was just an episode explaining Cottonmouth and his sister's background.
Well, not only sister, his cousin.
Yeah, cousin. I almost said sister.
Yeah, and, just talking about...
Yeah, I was like, okay, I don't give a shit about the... It's like, Cottonmouth I didn't mind, but it's like his cousin I don't give a fuck about.
Yeah, it's like, I really don't. It's like he made for a better villain than she did.
Well, to be fair, it's Mahershala Ali, so...
Mm-hmm. I would say he's generally a better actor than most everyone he works with.
Yeah.
Like, nothing against the lady who played his cousin. I can't think of her name off the top of my head. I know I've seen her in different things.
Gabrielle Union. I don't know.
No.
I think it's Gabrielle Union. I think it's Spanish.
Yeah, she was in Star Trek First Contact. Like, I see her face. I just...
She's that one lady. It's in that one thing. Yeah, I do think... I am thankful, though, that this is... Like we've kind of already mentioned, it really just need to watch WandaVision. Honestly, I would say probably one of the better of the shows. I know some people kind of shit on it. It's like, WandaVision is a much quicker show to watch because the first 2-3 episodes are 30, 45 minutes a piece, which is a lot easier to stomach than sitting there constantly watching hour-long episodes, especially with Falcon and Winter Soldier, where I felt like...
It's like we're just retreading the movies.
Yeah, and not only that, but some of the fights were very fucking samey. And I started letting them all the fuck together. Yeah,
and the so-called villains, like, I know y'all are trying to create sympathy for this chick and her cause. I don't give two shits, though. I can't care about her. I can't care about her damn cause. Like, okay, you want to create, one world, one country. It's like, okay... That's all well and good, but how the hell you gonna go about this? How the hell is that gonna work out? It sounds like y'all are just pissed because y'all got displaced thanks to the whole thing. It's like, okay, that's really nobody's fault but Thanos, and it's like, okay, it's unfortunate. Just move on.
Shit happens. Wear a helmet.
Yeah, it's like I don't care. I'm sorry that happened to you, but move on with your life.
Yeah. But yeah, well... But yeah, like I said, I'm just happy that this didn't, have, thanks to this stuff that happened in Hawkeye and the stuff that also happened in Captain America and Winter Soldier. I know it's Falcon and Winter Soldier. He's Captain America. He's supposed to be Captain America.
Yeah.
It's like, I'm glad that those didn't have much... I don't think they should have had any real major effect anyway. To be fair, looking back on after watching them, I don't think they have an effect anyway.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't need these shows to have super effect, especially if they're not going to be particularly compelling.
Yeah. WandaVision, it was at least compelling because it's Wanda working through her grief. It's you feel for her. You don't necessarily agree with her methods on the show. Mm-hmm. Okay, this is kind of wrong. You're kind of enslaving a whole town, but it's you understand it, and it's actually very funny and entertaining in this making fun of all these different sitcoms throughout the decades, and it's I enjoyed it. It was very for being about a kind of darker subject matter. It was actually very lighthearted, I think.
Yeah.
I'll tell you at the end.
No, that, but you also got Monica Rambeau actually. I introduced, which, hey, I'm all for it. I'm Monica coming into the MCU. That was my personal favorite Captain Marvel outside of Miss Marvel, which now they want to call her Captain Marvel. And they don't want to give her the really, really cool outfit. Instead, they just make her wear a bunch of spandex and it looks kind of lame. Oh, well. Mm-hmm. So, what would you give Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness, since I will call it that just for now?
I'm going to go with a 9.
Ironically enough, the same thing gave Everything Everywhere All at Once.
Yeah. I was thinking about giving it an 8. Because, some of the predictability is okay, but more time, it's like, I did enjoy the ride. Like, I'm along for the ride, just like, take me through this. Take me how you're gonna get there. Like,
Yeah, it's like the predictability of it. It's more just because of the fact it is a comic book movie, not necessarily, I believe, because it's an MCU movie.
I think the predictability more just comes from human nature.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, you know that this character's gonna learn this lesson, and this other character's gonna learn this lesson, because they're kind of like setting it up in the beginning. And it's like, okay, so that's where you're taking this. Like, okay.
Yeah. I will also say this much again. Also, if people are wondering, it's like, oh, is this a good movie or not, or anything like that? Because we're talking about, it's a little on the predictable side. The predictability, like we said, it's more just because of the fact, if you've watched movies, like, at this point, we have probably watched thousands of movies, which I really
We probably own thousands of movies.
Yeah, we're looking at them.
Yes.
But yeah, when you get to that point, there's going to be a lot of times some plot lines are just going to seem very similar to you. But here, I will also say this much: like, many people always want to criticize MCU movies. Oh, they all look the same. And I would say, like, they've technically tried to break away from that. Technically, Shang-Chi looked all the fucking same as Black Widow, though the actor was fucking atrocious. But I'll say, like, Eternals, for all of its, terribleness, at least didn't 100% look like every MCU movie, but also it was boring.
Yeah, it looks more like a DC movie.
Yeah, that's not untrue there.
Yeah. Yeah, to me, like, okay, I get everybody getting worn out on all these, like, superhero stuff. Like, I get that. But I think the best superhero movies and shows come from, like, the explorations of human nature. And just exploring different aspects of it and how we can be better, how we can do better.
I actually agree with you there. I think, like, one of the big things that people just constantly miss and misunderstand as well is the fact that it's like, what makes actually a good superhero movie is that, one, I don't need a super fucking dark serious movie. I don't give a shit. There's a guy wearing fucking spandex. If you can somehow make it realistic, fine, but still got to be fun. It's still got to be interesting. I still have to give a shit about the character, and they still need to feel like this character. Like, for instance, you could have sat there and went through all this bullshit of having such a fantastic Joker in The Dark Knight, but if Batman did not feel like Batman, instead felt like a fucking meathead the entire time, or a fucking buffoon like he did in the third movie, I'm not going to give a shit about it as much. Here, we do have actually a character that does feel still fairly much like Doctor Strange. Maybe a little quippier, but I mean, that's a little bit of the MCU stuff. But also, the movie doesn't look like many of the MCU movies. This is very much a horror movie in certain regards.
Yeah, sometimes it does feel like a horror movie. Sometimes it feels like almost like psychedelic sci-fi kind of movie. Yeah. And it's like trippy.
Yeah, and I am all for more horror movies, especially if they're going to pull some of the MCU characters. So, I give this a 9 as well. I probably would give it closer to a 9.25, maybe 9.5, but I don't give points. It gets a 9 for me. So, hey, go check out Doctor Strange 2. Is it the, most unique movie of all time? Yeah, but I think you're going to enjoy the hell out of what it does do. And not only that, but we need more Sam Raimi movies. So, since Barry's about to die, we'll need to also eventually stop talking at some point.
Yeah, before we give away the whole movie.
Yeah. So, until then, we'll see y'all later. So, bye-bye, everybody.
Bye.